Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. First video in 2018. Obviously I'm still going to continue on with the Woman of Substance series, and today we are going to talk about dignity, okay? Because a woman of substance, she clothes herself with dignity. So let's get straight into it. You guys know me. If I'm looking down, I'm looking at the notes that I got on my laptop. Also, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Very soon I will be starting a blog, okay? So make sure you follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. I'm going to leave my social media name in the description box. So let's define what dignity means. So dignity is the quality of being worthy of honor and respect, okay? A woman of substance is a woman that people respect, that people honor, and that is what dignity means. A woman of substance knows that the way she dresses is going to determine the type of guys that will approach her. So as a result of that, she's conscious of what she wears and she's conscious of what she buys in the store, because modesty does not start in your wardrobe. Modesty starts in the shopping center. When you're going out to buy stuff, because you are conscious of what you're wearing, you be conscious of what you are buying. Now, a woman of substance understands that if she wants to attract a man of integrity, the way she dresses and the way she carries herself is really important. Now, I've done a video on body image and confidence. I think that was the previous video, so make sure you check that out. I talked a lot about body image and confidence. A woman of substance needs to carry herself with honor and respect. A woman of substance sees herself as royalty because she is a daughter to the Most High. Now, let's take this back to reality, okay? If you look at the queens and the princess that lives in the palace, there is a certain way they dress and there's a certain way they carry themselves, and there's some certain things you don't see them do. Not because they don't want to do it, but the position requires honor and respect. And if that position requires honor and respect, it really comes down to how you carry yourself and how you dress. And not only for a woman, it also applies for a man as well. You will not see a king wearing trousers that are really saggy, but because this is obviously a Woman of Substance series, I'm going to have to focus more on the woman. Even though these kings and queens are in really high position, you would never see them dress in a very sexual appealing way. Not because they don't want to, but because that position requires honor and respect. So therefore, the way they dress is really important. What they say is important. How they carry themselves is also important. As a woman of substance, right, as a godly woman, one thing you have to be conscious about is your future, because you really don't know where God is taking you to. And if you knew where God was taking you to, maybe there are some things that you will correct, or there are some things you would change about yourself right now. For example, you don't know, maybe God has called you to be a pastor's wife. Maybe God has called you to be a queen of a country. Maybe God has called you to be something in a high position. And if you're called into that thing, there's some certain things you have to stop. There's some certain things you can't say. There's certain things that you can't do. It comes with sacrifice. Missions like being a youth minister, being a queen, being a pastor's wife, being an evangelist, being a gospel artist. The way you dress is really important. What you say is important, because these positions, when the way you carry yourself will allow people to respect you in these positions. And not only that, there are some positions where people look up to you, and because they look up to you, they mimic what you do, they mimic what you hit, what you wear, and they mimic what you say. A lot of us, we want high positions. We want to be in a position where people are going to honor us. We want positions where people are going to respect us. But what we don't remember is that these positions require sacrifice, okay? It requires you sometimes dying to your daily desires. You know what I mean? There are days where you want to dress a certain way, but you have to be conscious that, you know, this position I'm in, I can't dress like this. So as a daughter of a king, okay, because you're king, which is God Most High, you are from a royal family. I don't care where you're born. You are from a royal family. I'm trying to get you guys to get out of this mindset about where you're coming from, because the reality is nobody cares about where you're coming from. People just care about where you're going. So I want you to see yourself as you are coming from a royal family. You are a princess to a king Most High, and therefore the way you portray yourself is going to reflect, okay? People need to see the God in the inside of you. If you dress in a certain way, if you dress in a way that is sexually appealing, you are going to be judged for that. There are people on social media, pastors' wives on social media, youth ministers on social media, and people always say that, oh, Christians are so quick to mock other Christians when they dress a certain way or when they do something wrong. You're going to be mocked because the position you're in is a position where you're inspiring people, you're leading people. So when people see you do something that is not in line with what God has told us to do, or is something that is against God's will, then you are going to be mocked. And that's why before you ask God to use you, make sure you understand what is required of you. There's a lot of ladies, we dress in a certain way because we want to get attention, right? But if you want a man with integrity, you want to marry a man who respects himself, you want to marry a man who's in a good position, that kind of man is not going to marry a woman who is dressed in a sexual appealing way, okay? Because he understands that other men are going to lust after his woman, and he hasn't got time to start, going through your phone and checking why this guy is messaging you, and why is he sliding into your DM, and why is he buying you this, and why is he talking to you like that. No, he hasn't got time to be going after and chasing other men because of the way you're dressed. So naturally, if you want to attract a king, you need to be dressed like a queen. You need to conduct yourself like a queen. A woman of substance carries herself like a lady. Okay, she doesn't carry herself like a man. She carries herself like a lady. She dresses in a feminine way. She does not dress in a masculine way. Okay, a woman of substance is connected to her feminine energy. She is feminine, not masculine. Feminine. Now let's talk about social media, okay? Because this is where a lot of people get caught out, especially girls who minister to a lot of people, and then you go to their Instagram pages and you're thinking, I don't know. You don't know whether they're fully broken yet, or whether there's a lot of stuff that needs to be healed on the inside. When it comes to dignity, let me tell you something, yeah? If you see yourself like royalty, you will not be posting naked pictures on Instagram. You will not be twerking on Instagram. You will not be taking pictures of yourself half topless. This even goes for, you know what, let me just focus on the girls for now, okay? Because that's what this series is about. If you really carry yourself with dignity and you really respect yourself, you will be conscious of what you put on your Instagram. You'll be conscious of what you put on social media. You don't know where God is taking you. This is what a lot of us don't think about. You don't know where God is taking you. You don't know where you're going to be in a few years. Now, let's say you're a girl who's been trekking on Instagram. You've been doing some, taking topless pictures and showing a lot of, flesh on Instagram or whatever. And maybe in a few years you decide that I want to be a president, or you want to be a president's wife. Yeah, let's just put it like that. You want to be a president's wife. You come across a man, you realize that he wants to be president, and automatically you're going to be a president's wife. When you get to that position, do you know what people are going to do? They're going to go back to history and start looking for all the pictures that you posted on Instagram, the ones that you were twerking, the ones where you post some kind of nude stuff about yourself. They're going to bring it up. Let's be honest here. When you get to a certain position, people are going to dig your past. People want to see your past. People want to see what you were like before. And unfortunately, because a lot of us don't keep this in mind, we do silly, stupid things when we're young, and then when we get to a certain position as the years go by, people bring it up, and then you end up regretting it because we don't put our future in our mind. That's why it's important for you to plan your life and to know what God has in store for you, so that you can begin to be conscious of what you're doing right now. Let me tell you, I did not know 5 years ago that I would start YouTube now. I did not know I would start YouTube now. I did not know that I would start a blog right now. If I knew that I was going to start YouTube at some point in my life a few years ago, there would be some things that I wouldn't do. There would be some things that I wouldn't say, because now that I've started YouTube, yeah, there's some people who are not fully convinced that, oh, Dami is taking her relationship with God seriously because of some things that I've done in the past, or maybe because of my attitude in the past, or the way I used to carry myself in the past. You know what I mean? They're not fully convinced. But let's say I had a good attitude, or I had a good behavior back then, maybe then now they'd be like, oh, you know, I'm not surprised that Dami's doing that, because you can tell when she was young, she was like this, she was like that, she was like that. But because of some stuff that I've done in the past that were wrong, some of them still don't believe in it. So this is what I'm telling you. You have to keep your future in your mind. You have to think about the future. Don't just be doing YOLO. Don't just do life anyhow. You have to put your future into consideration. When your kids get older, some of you don't even know what privacy means. Like some people who've got babies and you're posting pictures of your babies in the toilet, you're posting pictures of your babies getting breastfed. When your baby grows up, right, and wants to become something, and then they open up your Instagram page and then they start bringing it up, it's disgraceful. Like honestly, let's understand what privacy means. Your baby has no clue what is going on. Don't put your baby out there and showing stuff that people don't need to see. Another thing is you need to be careful of what you say in public and how you say it. Okay, now me personally, I like to say things how it is, but there are some situations I can't say things how it is, because some people translate it in the wrong way. Some people translate things completely different. Okay, so you have to be conscious of what you say. When you get to certain positions, like as a president, yeah, you can't see the president tell somebody to F off. You can't see that, because that in that position you are not allowed to say it. Now there'll be times where people might piss him off. There'll be times where people, you know, might trigger him and he feel like saying it, but he has to hold himself back, because this position I can't say that kind of thing. You know what I mean? When you're a pastor, you can't just walk to your church members and hit them at the back of the head, even though they could piss you off or they could do the most ridiculous things. You can't do that, because that position does not require you to do that. So you have to understand that there's some certain places, or there's some certain positions in life, there's some things you cannot do, not because you don't want to do it, but because that position you are not allowed to do it. And not only that, when you become godly as well, you are an ambassador of Christ. You are representing Christ on this earth. So there's some things that you can't do. You can't see me come on YouTube, you know, coming on YouTube half naked, or coming on YouTube with a whole lot of trash talk. I can't do that, okay? Because I'm here, I'm pretty sure I'm probably inspiring somebody out there, or somebody's looking at my videos, and I have to be conscious of what I'm putting out there. You know, there are times where I'm writing stuff and I look at it and I say, this might sound a bit too harsh, let me correct it a little bit, or let me not touch on this area, or let me not talk about it, because some people might translate it the wrong way. You know, so you have to be conscious of what you're saying. Like for example, yeah, as Christians, a lot of people know that you're not supposed to be gay. It's against God's will to be gay. But let's say some people, yeah, they want you to say something negative about it. They want to trigger you. They want you to say something bad about it. So they start asking you, oh, what do you think about gay people? When they know deep down that as a Christian, you're not supposed to be gay. Why are you asking? But they're asking because they want you to say something negative. And then when you say something negative, then they hold on to that thing and then they want to fight against you. So that's what I mean by you have to be conscious. There's some certain positions where you get asked some certain questions, yeah, you have to think twice before you talk, or sometimes you just have to keep shut, because you know, sometimes you know deep down, like they're just asking you just to trigger something, you know what I mean? But if someone is asking you out of sincerity as well, you would know. Times where even Jesus did this in the Bible. If you go to the book of John chapter 8 verse 6, the Pharisees, there was a woman who committed adultery, and they asked Jesus, what shall we do with this woman? Do you think the Pharisees didn't know what to do with the woman? Of course they knew. They just wanted to see. The Bible said they wanted to test Jesus to see what he was going to say. And when they asked Jesus, Jesus just put his head down and he was writing on the floor. You know, I'm pretty sure Jesus was thinking of the wisest response that he could give to them. And then he lifted his head up and he was like, well, if any of you haven't committed any sin, then throw a stone at her. And little by little, they all walked away. But Jesus knew that they asked that question just to test him. That's why he wasn't quick to be like, da, 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 da. Some of us, they ask us questions, we're so quick to be like, da, 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 da. And then they use that against you in the future, or in the spiritual realm, or even in the physical realm here. Thing about dignity. Ladies, I don't know what's going on. Like, a lot of YouTubers, yeah, I've seen a lot of YouTubers talk about their marriage on YouTube, talking about their divorce on YouTube, talking about their man cheating on them on YouTube, talking about sexual relations they've had in the past on YouTube. This is not dignity. Listen, if you're on YouTube and you're talking about your married life because you want people to learn something from it, or you're inspiring people about godly relationships and how you met this and that, okay, cool. But when there's something going on with your husband, or there's something going on with the both of you that's supposed to be kept private and you're putting out on YouTube, that's not dignity. Because there could be a time in your life where you could get to a certain position and they'll bring that up. Why do people feel like because you're a YouTuber you need to open up about every single thing that goes on in your life? I'm sorry, no, you're not supposed to. You don't have to. If you broke up with someone, you don't need to come on YouTube and let people know you broke up with someone. You don't even know whether your future partner is watching you on YouTube, and then people have like a record history of you, of who you've met, who you slept with, who you've cheated on, the bad things you've done. It's not wise. It's not wise. A woman of substance will not do that, because you will get, as you get older, people change, your desires change, and maybe you might get to a certain position and people will just go back on YouTube and say, oh, I remember this happened to you, that happened to you, and then you're looking at them and you're like, how do you know all of that? Because they follow you on YouTube. There's some certain things you don't need to talk about on YouTube. There's some things you can talk about, and then there's some things it shouldn't be mentioned on YouTube at all. If you want to inspire people, but don't be feeding people with everything that's going on in your life. Even I've noticed, like, there's some girls, yeah, I can tell you how many boyfriends they've had. I've never seen them, I've never talked to them, but I know. How do I know? Because every time they get a new boyfriend, they're posting it on Instagram, they're posting it on Facebook. When they're not together anymore, they've posted on social media. When they've got a new person, they post it on social media. When they're on holiday, they post it on social media. It's too much. People don't need to know. Calm it down. Seriously, it's not a sign of dignity at all. You have to be careful of what you put out there. Me, I'm a very private person. If I don't want you to know something, you're not gonna know. It's as simple as that. If I feel that it's none of your business, it's none of your business. I can be friends with someone for 10 years and you might not even know what's going on in my life, because that's just how private I am. But I'm not saying that everyone should be private like that, but your life should not be predictable. People should not be able to predict what's going on in your life. People should know what's going on in your life. That means if people can tell you the amount of things that's happened in your life, the people you've slept with, the people who you've dated, places where you've been to, it means that you're putting too much information out there. Like I said before, if you're just inspiring, like if you're talking to people because you want to inspire them and you want them to learn something from it, it's different. But if you're just talking about it just for the sake of getting more views or getting paid or getting more subscribers, it's not a sign of dignity. What you don't understand is, because girls are so open on YouTube now, it makes it hard for a guy to trust a girl. That's another thing that you girls don't know. Because you come out talking about every single thing about your life, it makes it hard for a guy to trust a girl. Listen, in the book of Proverbs 31 verse 11, it says her husband has full confidence in her and he lacks nothing of value. If you want your man, your husband, to trust you, you have to be conscious of what you say in public. Do you get what I mean? If your man is in a high position, you have to be conscious of what you're saying. You can't just come out and talk anyhow and say things anyhow, or talk to anyone about what's going on in your family, unless if it's another family member. But you have to be conscious of what you put out there. Some men, they get in a relationship with some girls and they don't tell the girls some hidden deep stuff about themselves, because they're afraid that if I tell you this now, I don't know whether you're going to go on YouTube and you're going to start talking about it. That's the society we're living in. Everything is on social media. So it shouldn't be like that. There's a couple that broke up, and all of a sudden the girl just started exposing stuff about the guy. It's not necessary. Why do that? That's not maturity. That's not a woman of substance. That's not a woman of dignity. A woman of dignity, she understands how things are done. She understands what can be put on social media, what can't be put on social media, what we can talk about on social media and what we can't talk about on social media. Think twice before you talk. Be quick to listen and slow to speak. Okay? That's in the book of James. A woman of substance clothes herself with dignity. That's it for this video. Please do make sure you subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to follow me on all my social media sites. Until my next video, guys, stay blessed and stay beautiful. Bye.